Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbett, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. Today's guest has pretty much lived 3 different lives so far. She was a professional tennis player competing at an elite level, then spent nearly 2 decades as a BigLaw partner advising on billion-euro transactions in some of the most demanding corporate environments imaginable. And today she's helping founders, executives, and leaders build sustainable success without sacrificing their health, relationships, or sense of self. As the co-founder of ActiveGiving, she's on a mission to connect movement, performance, and measurable social impact. She's also a mindset and performance coach who believes that mindset isn't something you're born with, it's something you train. So her work sits right at the intersection of elite sport, entrepreneurship, leadership, and human performance, helping ambitious people redefine what winning actually means. Dr. Angela Kerek, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you. It's very nice, and thank you for the nice introduction. It always sounds interesting when other people summarize it. So that was really good, on point.
Sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to learning more about you. So, as I said, you've competed in professional sports, negotiated those billion-euro transactions, and worked in companies. And built your own company. So, what are some of your personality traits that worked well in all of those different settings?
So there are some which you learn in sports, which is always willpower. It's focus. It's being driven. It's just pushing through. But it's also grit and it's resilience because there's so many ups and downs. So a lot of these invisible traits that you have and you train as a kid when you're in sport, that you just carry over your entire life and they just come back to you in different type of images, different type of feelings, but it's always the same.
So the structure is the same, just the settings change.
Yeah, exactly. It took me a while to realize that, but when I went into the law firm, I became a finance lawyer and had nothing in common with finance. I didn't know what people are doing, how a company. I actually didn't know what it is about, other than it's just some loan agreements like Darlehensverträge. And I became very fast, very good. And it took me some years to understand why. But it was mainly because I had so much energy to give and so much willpower to push through. It was before 2008 when I started, before the financial crisis. And we were working nights over nights, and I always had energy,
Yeah, that's an important part, I guess. Now, when you look back at your younger self as the professional tennis player, what did she understand about performance that your colleagues in the law firm often didn't?
It was probably always that I thought, don't argue so much, just get on with it. This type of, I don't want to discuss anymore. I just want to get going. When you come from sport, you are like extremely good in following instructions because all the coaches you had and you were following instructions your entire year, so life. So I was like, just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. Don't argue with me, just let me go. So that was really strong, I feel, now that you ask. And the fact that I never picked really what I wanted. I just got on with whatever they gave me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is that I always thought I am responsible for learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went out and did stuff. And, I was responsible for telling them how long I can go, if I can take on something or not. This type of discussion we always have when the better you perform, the more work you get.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah. And I realized, okay, they will keep giving me work if I don't say no.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something I realized I need to self-regulate and understand how far I can go.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is one more thing which I think nobody talks about it enough, is I was an incredibly good sleeper, or I still am.
Oh,
So, even in weeks when we work like 80 to 100 weeks, and I had those type of weeks, I always slept in between.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm able to just go and sleep for a few minutes, wake up and go on working. And at that time, I was highly skilled in this. And that helped me a lot. It was very interesting. I ended up doing an MBA at some point, and we went to Hong Kong, and there was like a big Hong Kong investor, some real estate guru, mogul, I don't know. He was like the guy. And then people ask him, what is the secret of his success? And then he said, you need to learn to sleep wherever you are. So basically, you need to learn to sleep from the airport to the hotel in the taxi. You just need to do that. And that kept me going incredibly well without having the feeling that I'm overworking.
Yeah, sleep is so important. And it sounds like you had this strong action bias and a lot of flexibility that you, as traits that you carried over from your tennis career. Now, on the flip side, what did maybe your colleagues in law understand about performance that athletes often miss? And I find that really fascinating because one environment is intensely physical while the other is intensely cognitive, yet both operate under enormous pressure. So what did maybe the other side understand that athletes often miss?
Claudia, good question. And I have to say, I can't point you to anything because the problem is with the mind, and that's the entire problem of what we talk about in entrepreneurship, in the offices. The mind can travel endlessly. In your mind, your capacity is endless. You can travel to the moon, you can travel to other galaxies, you can travel into becoming the next billionaire or whoever, but you can travel with the mind. And you can go intellectually, you can go into spheres without moving one step from your desk, basically. Mm-hmm. And what the problem is that the body stops you much later than it stops you on court. So now if I overtrain on the court, mm-hmm. I get injured or tired very fast. If I only sit, then it takes longer until my body collapses. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the biggest problems we have when we work in offices or in our heads, is that we don't have this alarm these biological alarms which stop us, because the body is not on the other galaxy. The body is always here. But we are so much in our minds that we forget to listen to the signals.
No sore muscles.
Yeah, and well, you get some sore muscles, but you just think push through it, you know. Obviously, on the court as well, there is no day when nothing hurts. Something hurts always, you know. And you still push, but it stops you because it hurts then so much that it gets chronic. Now, in the office, you tend to go further. And yeah, maybe, you know, in the office you might have much more fun than you would have in a professional athlete career. I don't know, but yeah, I can't even, you know, after talking for a few minutes now, I can't tell you what the athletes should learn, because I do believe that whatever we do with our bodies is much more biologically wired than if we just sit at the desk.
For sure. And what made you leave your career in the end, your law career, to dive into entrepreneurship? Was there a specific moment in your life that changed everything, or was it more of a slow progression?
Definitely a slow progression. I never had like a clear cut in my life. So everything, you know, my first biggest cut was I'm an immigrant. I came from Romania before 1989. So my first cut was I just left my country and I couldn't go back. That was maybe a clearer cut. But when I stopped tennis, it took me a year to transition to the fact that it's going to be one last match when I play. And I kept playing on because I funded my university studies with playing in the Bundesliga after that. So I never really stopped. I still play. And when I became a lawyer, or when I, you know, stopped working on a platform, that was an even slower process. So it took me probably 10 years. So the first time I started thinking about it was when I did my MBA. And I did my MBA actually to open up the possibilities of also doing something else. Because quite soon I had a feeling that even if I'm good in what I'm doing, I did not see myself doing the same thing until I retire.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had an incredible learning curve for like 8 years or so, but then it started flattening. And I'm a super keen learner, so I really need to learn new things. I need to feed my brain, you know, with information, with knowledge, with connections. So I really crave this, yeah. So this is why I did the MBA as well. And then I changed the law firms. I became a partner, and I thought, okay, let's try it. But again, my learning curve, it flattened, but even faster. And then like COVID was a revelation to me. So COVID was for me one of the best times in my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So because everything stopped. For the very first time in my life, you know, it was like a stop. And I didn't need to hustle. I didn't need to put myself into some clothes and go to the office. I didn't need to commute. I didn't need to be there and smile. I could just be where I am. And that was like a really, really nice feeling, you know. So before that, I started building a well-being program in the law firm. So that was a topic that came to me that for the first time started feeding itself. I don't know how to explain it, but, you know, in law, I had to learn the market, the new developments and so on. But this one, you know, turning inwards and understanding what's going on with me and why is it happening and what do I need to do? This inner mental part of how we develop as humans, that started feeding itself.
Mm.
And it became bigger as I learned. It didn't narrow, but it opened. And I thought, okay, so this is something I'm going to do. But then obviously it takes a while until you deplatform yourself.
Mhm.
And in the background, I was already building my first startup, which was about workplace well-being and connecting numbers of how people feel into the P&L of companies, telling them that your numbers actually correlate with how people feel.
That's amazing. That sounds really good. And what did COVID tell you about yourself or teach you about yourself that really surprised you in a way? So you said for the first time in your life, you had maybe time to think, maybe time to slow down. So what's one surprising thing you learned about yourself during that time?
That's like a very big step for me, which I learned in COVID is, I was always hustling and I was going to the next job, the next level, the next client, the next certificate, the next study, always something next. And it started making me tired,
Yeah.
I felt like, I start boring myself by always going for the next, Where is this going to end up if I always have to go for the next? And it was the COVID time when I actually took the decision, because everything stopped. So I didn't have to go for the next, I could breathe and pause. And then I said to myself, you know what? I don't need any next. Whatever I have is fine, and whatever I have is enough, and whatever I earn is enough, and whatever I do is enough. And if nothing else comes in this life towards me, then what there is enough.
That's a great mindset.
And that was one of the biggest shifts for me. But it was a decision. It wasn't the learning or something. I realized I have to take this decision just to stop everything, not just on the outside world, because the outside world stopped. So I had to stop my mind.
Makes sense. Yeah. Now imagine you wake up tomorrow with no credentials, no LinkedIn profile, no professional history. What is left of you? What's your core identity?
Big questions. So I would probably, I'm always, I'm fine where I am now. I have a lot of knowledge. So even if you say I don't even have knowledge, or what's the...
No, you just don't have credentials.
Okay. But I have knowledge, yeah?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I would teach.
Okay.
I would teach. I would probably teach children sports. I would teach them how they should think. I coach now a little boy. He's 14, and I coach him together with his mom. Oh, nice. So that's an incredible journey, to help a young player.
So you see yourself as a teacher at the core.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do that for the rest of my life, to be honest, because this coaching stuff is also a little bit teaching, right?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So I could do that. I would probably retreat a little bit to being more local, not so much, going for reach. But I would be also fine in going to the mountains and, living there in a small village. And this is something I couldn't have told you 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I was terrified by this thought. But now it's something I could do.
Interesting. Now, something that I'm curious about is many entrepreneurs I talk to say they want freedom, and that's why they started building their businesses. But then they actually build businesses that feel like prisons. So how do you make sure you're not becoming the worst boss you've ever had?
Well, I'm learning by doing. So my first startup, that was 2024, which I built while I was on the law firm. And that one, even I knew all the theory and even, watching clients doing everything, I did everything wrong that I could. So I ended up in the middle of the year, like 2 years ago, basically. I left the law firm for 6 months. I was terrified that I couldn't earn my money or something, but then, life just helped me. But a half a year later, in that first startup, I realized all I am doing is sitting in my little room, and I have a very small room where I'm working, and working on an investor presentation, which I'm sending out to people, and I'm just getting ghosted.
Oh.
So, and that felt terrible.
Yeah.
And I decided that this is not why I left the law firm. So I said, I can't do this. So I actually wanted to do something nice, but all I'm doing is fiddling around on investor presentations, and people comment, I redraft it, and then they don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really proud of myself that I stopped so fast.
Yeah, that's tough. It's a tough decision.
Yeah. So, but I was like, okay, it took me a few years to change from tennis. It took me a few years to change from law. I'm not going to waste my time. So actually, I took the content of that startup and I said, I'm doing it on my own platform.
Mm.
And then I started building my audience, started building my content, my website. So, but for a year, I was working alone, and I'm still working alone a lot. So I'm like a type of solopreneurship until I met ActiveGiving. And ActiveGiving is a company I know since 5 years, since they founded it, because I helped as a lawyer.
Awesome.
And now one of the co-founders wanted out. So I bought in. And ActiveGiving is a platform where we, incentivize people to move, and we translate that into environmental impact. So you, very bluntly, you run 5 kilometers, and I know you're a runner, and we plant a tree, and we need sponsors or somebody to pay for the impact. So that's the whole, the whole magic. And this platform is something that has everything that I stand for. So
yeah, I love it so much. When I read about it, I signed up immediately. I've already shared the app with all my friends and my running club. So I've already planted, I think, 5 trees starting yesterday or so. So I totally love it. Can you, maybe for everyone who's not familiar, again, you already outlined it a little bit, but maybe can you go a little more into depth about what it is, how the idea was born, maybe tell us the origin story?
Sure. So it was born with my co-founder, Laurent, who was doing a lot of art runs in Berlin. So basically running through Berlin. We are based in Berlin. He was running with groups of people, showing them the graffiti art in the city.
Oh, how cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's still doing that, but he's done that, I don't know, for 10 years or so. And while he's done that, the community got bigger and bigger. And then he thought, okay, if we run anyway, why don't we just also plant trees? And then they started off on Instagram, and in 2020 they built the app, and it's a native app in the App Store. And since I joined, what we're doing now, we are doing a 2.0 version. So we are completely revamping this app. It's going to come out next month. Ooh. And I'm super proud of it because, believe it or not, I'm very much into the details of the product and the design, which is super fun. And we have like 40 types or 40 something type of sports you can do. So you can walk, you can swim, you can paddle, you can play tennis, you can run, whatever there is, you can do. And there is a translation into either of distance or of calories burned into how much impact that is.
Nice.
Yeah, and we have three types of impacts you can choose at the moment, and we're going to expand. But you can plant mangrove trees in Kenya. You can plant kelp forest at the Canadian shore, and you can remove plastic from rivers.
Oh.
And we remove it from rivers because that's before it goes to the ocean. And we have partners, and the way it works at the moment is you need to join a team. So you can join your little private team. You can have like 10 friends and build a team, or you can be a corporation, big company, want to energize your people, want to foster engagement, culture, team spirit, incentivize people to perform a little bit better by energizing them. And you can run that for a month, for 2, for 3. You can keep the team open for the entire year. And then the company pays for the impact, basically. We are the platform who just translates. And then you can have a big running event. I don't know if you're you have a marathon or something, or a triathlon, and then you have a sponsor, and that sponsor can be our partner and pay for the trees that people generate in that event. And that's really nice.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. So can only sponsors have their own teams? Because I saw when I tried to join one that there was only one team that I could join.
Yeah, so at the moment we're in a transition phase. So for the past 5 years, you could actually generate for free. So but ActiveGiving was paying for it, but so many people joined that we can't fund it ourselves because it was basically just paid from. So you can, for example, have a Wired for Success team for your accelerator for something. I did it for my course. And everybody who's in your course, or everybody who's running with you virtually, your business could pay for it. Or you could have a sponsor pay for your impact. So you say you have a Wired for Success accelerator, and you have one sponsor who wants to be the sustainability sponsor. Nice. And he just pays for what the entrepreneurs generate. Yeah. And soon we will also launch like individual plans. So you could have you could be like Claudia, you could join and have your individual plan without going to a team, but that's not active yet.
And how do you currently find sponsors for ActiveGiving? So you're connecting sponsors with the platform, right? So
actually we at the moment most of it is either corporate. So I don't know, TÜV or whatever, Springer, you name it. Any big company, Siemens could do it. Any big company could do it. We have now a challenge, I think, with 300 people going on, and there are like 10 teams from one company, and each team has, generates trees, and then they challenge against each other.
That's cool.
And otherwise we find sponsors, for example, we bring together a sponsor with an event, or we have brands who want to grow and use our audience to sell new products and fund their growth in a geography. Yeah, this is how we do it. And we want more.
That's amazing. I know some people in the ultra runner community, so
nice.
They generate a forest for you.
Yeah. So the way we look at it, we are onboarding athletes as well, and we would want to have like 20 or 30 athletes, and then as a sponsor, you could say, okay, my leading athlete is Claudia when she's running. And I'm funding Claudia's team, and then your audience could join your team for as long as you open it, and then they run. You are the leader of the team, and the sponsor sponsors your team. Or if you're an ultra runner and have a brand sponsoring you, that brand could also sponsor your team.
That sounds really, really cool. We need to work.
How long are your runs?
Well, it depends. I usually run anything between, usually just 5 to 21 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I've also done 50 in the past.
Wow.
So, and I've friends who run 100 and more. So they do a lot of running and they train a lot. So that's
incredible. Yeah, I'm like the 5K runner. I was never a distance runner. As a tennis player, you're always doing sprints, and that's fine.
No, if anyone listening out there would love to fund this, would love to sponsor it, just reach out and we will start a team for sure.
Cool.
Now, what's in it for you? Do you plan on monetizing this platform in any way, or is it just going to be a strictly non-profit?
Oh no, so this is a for-profit, so we don't go non-profit. It's a social business, but it's a for-profit business. So basically we take a platform fee and we have a little bit of a margin from every tree you plant, but this is how we fund the product development and so on. And so ideally at some point we could also pay ourselves something so that we are not just pro bono. But it's a regular GmbH, a limited company, which we are building now.
Okay. Do you plan on using ads in any form, or is ads out of the picture?
Well, the ad would be the sponsor, right? So basically you could advertise by becoming a sponsor, and then we have like logos in every team, and you could click on the logo of the sponsor, and it is somehow a marketing service for the brands to be in the team, so that the more people are in the team, the more can click on the product they want to sell.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
now,
exchange.
Since building ActiveGiving, what's something that you've learned about human behavior that genuinely surprised you?
I'm still super surprised about how many people that you actually thought you have a business relationship for years still ghost you. I know I read it on your page, and people just don't respond on so many types of ways that I'm still amazed. And I don't know where this comes from. It's like sometimes it's about not being able to say no, or not being able to say not yet, or I'm always wondering, why people do that. And then some people you never expected, they come towards you and embrace basically your proposals. And I'm still puzzled. I don't understand the psychology around this. So I don't know. How is your experience from, the entrepreneurs you are speaking to and who you are coaching?
Yeah, same. It's some people you think would want your services, say it like this, and they really don't. And others that you really don't suspect they want it. So kind of understand why you're confused, because it's really hard to tell.
Yeah. So I have to say, like, this is one of the biggest learnings, or one of the biggest challenges, like personally as well, because sometimes I'm able to just brush over, and sometimes I'm just so puzzled. And we always have this as humans, this fear of rejection, this fear of did I do something wrong, or did I reach out unpolitely, or you start reflecting it on yourself. So unlearning this humanly natural behavior by putting your mindset towards, okay, there's so many people out there, not thinking, oh, there's a scarcity of clients. No, there's so many opportunities. You just need to go after them and not get caught up. And, some people I know are very easy on this, or they've learned it the hard way. I don't know. This was always hard for me.
Same.
But this is where I'm doing the biggest progress, like internally.
Yeah. I'm always trying to tell myself that rejection is just redirection.
Yeah.
And it is.
Exactly. But it still hurts, for if you know the people. It doesn't hurt if you don't know the people. I think that's easier. But it's such a the inherent behavior of, wanting some type of response. Just say no or something. Because, I got a lot of requests into my inbox, and if I don't know, if I never heard, if unsolicited or anything, then I understand. But I try to respond to people, at least tell them, okay, I can't do it now. I can't something, if you know them, because we always meet twice in life,
Yeah. You never know. Now, you also wrote a book called Winning Inside. If we sat down for a deep dive focused solely on the ideas of the book, what's one conversation that you would be really excited to have that we haven't explored today?
Yeah, so I went, that was 2021, the book, and it's about what athletes do in sports and how can we use that in business in a good way, by not burning out. And I went on, and I'm talking now about winning inside, which is the inner wins, and winning outside. And I would, I see my life as a little bit as a tennis match.
Yeah.
When you play the first set, you lose the first set, you lose the second set, then you maybe win the third set, and then you think, oh my God, do I keep on playing? Like, I was on the law firm and thinking, well, I have a good salary, it's a good life. Just shut up and stay calm, But then going out into the life again and exploring something new. So I'm always very curious about what makes people move on, like the core of your podcast, basically. What moves people deep down, not on paper? That's always these are always conversations I love to have.
Same, totally. Now, where can people find you online if they would like to learn more about you or connect with you?
So you can find me on angelakerek.com. So I have a dedicated website, and I'm the only platform I'm on is LinkedIn. So I'm posting every day, so it's easy to connect with me on LinkedIn. But otherwise, just connect to the website.
Perfect. Angela, thank you so much for talking today. This was great. Yeah, and keep up the great work. Take care and talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.